Just a lot of optimism and confidence around the Jeff Skinner contract. I have to ask you, Bots. I mean, you know, so there's speculation out there. I mean, Ralph Kruger was asked about it yesterday. Just seemed optimistic about the conversation that he had with Jeff Skinner. I mean, where are we at? Like, you know, I mean, you're not nervous at all?
Well, look, it's what I've said before, Andrew. Like, until you have a contract signed, nothing's for sure. But what I've enjoyed about the negotiations is that there's no threats. There's no posturing. It's just trying to go through people's expectations and people's desires and trying to find a resolution to it. It's no like, hey, we want to go to this or this. You know, it's been very straightforward from that standpoint. And we have a very open dialogue with Newport Sports. We've worked with them very closely the last couple of years, especially with Rasmus Dahlin coming into our group last year and just making sure everything was set up from that standpoint. I think there's a respect level from the agency there towards how we handle things in our franchise. So, you know, that's where the optimism comes from, because it's been my job to try to find a resolution to it. He's a player that we certainly want to get under sign, but we have to look what's best for the organization. We're trying to get it done.
Do you talk to him every day? Is it a everyday conversation? Is he twice a day, every other day? Like how? And I'm just in because if I was a player, I'd be calling my agent morning and night and be like, hey, did you guys talk? What happened? And I would put pressure on the agent maybe to get that conversation. What he does, it's his business and he gets paid for that. But I'm curious to see if it's an everyday text or email or a phone call.
Well, I think you know what people are forgetting too is just that we didn't have a head coach for you know, last month and a half or so, and that was the situation where nothing was going to be resolved. If you're signing a long-term contract, you're not going to sign a long-term contract with an organization until you know who the head coach is. And so once we had that set up, obviously there's communication with Ralph and Jeff. And I think as I mentioned yesterday in some of the things, it's the power of the players right now. The players that have played under Ralph, the players that, whether it was Edmonton or at the World Cup, you know, there was a lot more touch points than I anticipated with Jeff, and I think that probably gave Jeff even more comfort of having Ralph as their head coach there. Then it just comes down from a situation of communicating with it, and yeah, we're in constant communication with Newport over the last little bit here and trying to get us something set up.
Well, I'd like to see, like, maybe you could have left your phone open on the table here and see if it vibrates, and I could peek at the names coming in or not. So.
I turned it off because I wanted my full focus in this dialogue with you guys.
See, Petey puts it face down. Rivs and I are open book, like we just
I've learned the hard way.
and these type of negotiations.
You keep that phone face down, boys, okay? Listen, in conversations about 8-year contracts, long-term deals with any player at this age on any team, does the conversation come up from, well, obviously it would be from the team side, about fear of the production in later in the contract?
It always has to be a part of the equation, especially when we have such a young team. Those are the dialogues that we look at. The comfort level that we have with Jeff's situation is part of the reasons why we like him so much as a player, and he's been a good fit for our team, is just the professionalism that he's brought to the locker room. The focus that he has, you talk to him, and if you followed him on social media a little bit, you need to understand he's been bouncing all over the United States, and it's not just on vacation. He's going to train with different people, trying to find different elements to give him that edge. And I think he's very focused on his health, very focused on new ways of training. I think he really integrated well with not only our players on our team, but also our staff and some of the what our sports performance ideas from a staff can bring him. And I think he was invigorated by it. So look, there's always risk. There's always risk of an injury that you can't control. But how he takes care of his body off the ice is very impressive, and it gives us comfort in offering a longer-term contract.